China's real name is not China. If you think what I'm saying is just clickbait, and I'm actually referring to the full phrase People's Republic of China as the correct name, you're wrong. Namaskar. My name is Ajay Sharma. Welcome to a new episode of the Kafirnama. Don't you think it is ridiculous that a country that sets out to rename cities and towns in India is not even known by its real name globally? And even more perversely so, if its real name, China, was actually bestowed upon it by India. What then is China's real name? The official name of the country that we today call as the People's Republic of China is actually Zhōnghuá Rénmín Gònghéguó. This is how the Chinese Communist Party named the country when they took it over in 1949. But it was not the first time that Zhōnghuá was used as the name of the country. The earliest known usage of Zhōnghuá as the name for China goes back to 1000 BC, or almost 3000 years back. Zhōnghuá has been used frequently as the name since then. But it was not the only name used in the country's history. Rather, for most of the last 3000 years, China has actually been named by the name of the dynasty ruling it at that point of time. There have been many other names also used for China in the times of old. But it is important to note that none of its rulers or its citizens ever referred to this country as China or its civilization as the Chinese civilization. Some of you might ponder at this point that maybe the word Zhōnghuá is just a corrupt rendering of China in European languages, just like Hind, India, Hindustan has come about to actually talk about the land beyond the river Sindhu. That is not true. The term China has no relation whatsoever to the word Zhōnghuá. Rather, the term China has purely emanated from India. More on that later. Let us first try to understand what Zhōnghuá really means. Zhōnghuá in Mandarin means the central state. Simply put, it signifies the center of power. So when the Chinese Communist Party took over China in 1949, they named it Zhōnghuá for obvious reasons. But the more important question is, if the country's name is Zhōnghuá Rénmín Gònghéguó, why does everybody call it China? And this is where our India-specific story begins. The first reference to this country as China came about in early 16th century in Europe. It was when the journal of Portuguese explorer Duarte Barbosa was published in Lisbon in 1516. Subsequently, Barbosa's journal was translated and published in England in 1555. For the first time ever, Barbosa referred to this country as China in his journal. Nobody had named this country as China in Europe before that. And the word China took off as the name for the country across Europe and subsequently across the globe as globalization took over. But who was Duarte Barbosa? What is his India connection? Why did he call this country as China? And importantly, what has the naming of China got to do in our series on ancient Chinese silk versus ancient Indian silk? More on that in our next few episodes. However, at the end of this episode, what we do know is China's real name is not China. If you like this episode, please do like it and share it with your friends. Also subscribe to the Kafirnama to get regular updates on our new episodes and new series that we promise to launch every week. Jai Bharat.